pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first thing on our agenda today is the consent agenda, the minutes from the last meeting.
Also,
Second.
Any questions, discussion on that? Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next up, we have David Byer, Chief Information Officer, discussion decision regarding the onboard signing Tyler termination agreement for the executive project. David, you're up.
Sure. Good morning. So in front of you, you have the termination agreement. As you know, we had decided to move away from the project, and this is the agreement to go ahead and say, yes, we're done. That includes a roughly $90,000 credit that we would get. We get billed annually from Tyler, so that would just be a credit on that annual bill. And so that's the agreement in front of you. I'll be willing to answer any questions you might have.
What's that bill, July 1, or what's the bill?
It comes in June, so it's still this fiscal year.
So we'll need to mark that up.
Mitch and I have talked, we know exactly, so we would transfer some money from the IT budget back to gaming or wherever it was coming from.
Okay.
So.
Why didn't that work, David?
Well, there were a multitude of problems. The primary problem that it surfaced was the clocks that we were going to use didn't work with our badges, which they had promised that they did, and we even sent a sample badge to them, and they said, yes, it works. When we got the clocks installed, the badges did not work. They said it would take 3 to 4 months to solve. They did eventually solve it, although we never got to the point where we were testing it, because there were other problems that arose in the project, which Tyler identified and communicated to us. And those other problems were going to take 3 to 4 months to solve as well. So after those issues, we started to get some cold feet with the project, and we talked with other customers that use the software and the hardware, and they experience their own issues, different than what was described to us, but other issues nonetheless. And so after those conversations with those customers, we decided, let's limit our risk. What we're using today works, which is ESS and Kronos. That combination works for us. We weren't leaving those solutions because we had problems with those. We were trying to create some efficiencies. But moving to the software and this hardware solution appeared not to create those efficiencies anymore. And so we decided, let's back out while we still can. Let's limit the risk, and let's not buy into something that we're going to be stuck with for a decade and have a whole other host of problems. So it just made sense to back out. We had several conversations with Tyler and communicated that information to them, and what you have in front of you is the result of that.
What was the total bill?
The total, the total quote originally that we talked about August of 2021 that we agreed to was $127,818. That was the total amount that we would have been billed.
Mm-hmm.
We paid $102,507. And the credit that we're talking about today is $90,417. So we paid $102,000, we're getting $90,417 back. So all told, financially, we will have a $12,080 loss over a course of a year and a half, 2 years roughly.
Jen, is there anything you'd like to add to this discussion?
No, I agree with David. I mean, we had high hopes and really thought that that product was going to work, but I do think that the best decision was to take a pause on it. We met with department heads and stakeholders as well to explain to them and have them help us make the decision. We didn't make this decision independently. It was a majority that felt that it wasn't the right time to move forward. We're hopeful after speaking with Tyler that maybe after some time they'll get these bugs worked out and have a product that will work. It really would have been great, but it wasn't the right time to spend that money when it wasn't the product that we thought we were going to get.
I'll make a motion to approve the termination of this contract.
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion with David, Anna?
Well, the only discussion, I guess, would be, how many people did you have to deal with Tyler over this time period?
We had one project manager who was with us the whole time, and one implementation specialist, Lauren, who was great. So really only 2 people.
Really?
So yeah, pretty much the whole time.
Pretty unique with that outfit.
Correct.
Turnover is a real thing with them.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think it was a good move to pull out. I was really worried
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next up, we still have David on the funding of a quote for replacement time clocks. David, you're up.
So as part of the executive project was the replacement of the clocks that we currently have. We have 7 clocks that we use for Chronos. They are 12 years old. With the executive project, we were killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We were trying to create an efficiency. We're also replacing some old clocks as part of that. With the backing out of the project, we still need to replace those clocks. Those clocks are 12 years old. Buildings and Grounds clock just died a few weeks ago. We had to buy a replacement clock on eBay because they don't make those clocks anymore. We were able to find one for a few $100, and they're working now. But it's a dangerous position to be in. We don't want to be in a position where we have to go on eBay to buy clocks for these other spots. So we do need to replace the clocks. I think that's clear. And I have a quote from Chronos to replace those clocks. And the quote is in front of you, it's $25,352. My recommendation would be to use the credit that we would be getting back to replace those clocks.
Does that put every department on the same timekeeping system?
No, we would still have some people use ESS and some people using Chronos.
Wasn't the goal to get everybody on the same system?
It was, yes.
Why can't we do that?
Because, well, not everyone wants to do timekeeping with a clock. ExecuTime was supposed to do that for us, but because we have a payroll system in Tyler, we can't go with a Chronos or another third party to get everyone onto the same system. So because we use Tyler as a payroll system, we would have to still use a third party to do that.
So we're making the problem bigger and kicking the problem down the road.
I don't know that the problem's bigger because we're not getting worse. We're sticking with what we have. One of the things that is a problem is we still have some departments that use spreadsheets to track their time. And so we are moving them to Chronos. Starting January, we're starting those meetings. And so they will move from essentially paper or Excel to Chronos. So we are slightly improving timekeeping, but it still is going to be some people using ESS, which is Employee Self-Service, which is a Tyler product. It's a website. It's what I use to put my time in. And it's really for those salaried employees. You're just putting in 8s every day. And then Chronos would be used for those people that are hourly and they call, I'm here at 8 o'clock, I leave
So
at
we're no longer
4:30.
be on the spreadsheet anymore, right?
What's that?
No one will be on the spreadsheet
That is the
version.
goal,
That's
yes.
the goal. And
There's a lot of risk there. I mean,
there is a lot of, manual entry, human error, there is a lot of risk there. So we're not making the problem bigger because how we do our time right now isn't necessarily a problem. Everyone's getting paid and getting paid appropriately. We just knew there were more efficient ways to do it and systems that we could code things in that would make things a little bit more automatic to make things easier. This one didn't work out, and so now what we're going to do is use the systems that we have, but continue to look at them and see how can we use them more efficiently. We know that Chronos has a lot of capabilities that we don't use, and so part of this too, as we move forward and sit down with departments and have discussions with them, is also to have some discussions with Chronos. And maybe similar to how we did at Tyler maybe in 2019, see if there's a consultant that can sit with us and say, here's a more efficient way to do that, or here's a product that you aren't using, or a module that you aren't using that would be helpful for you. So we do have plans to still work on the efficiency. The plans are now just to use the systems that we have. We've looked at other systems and nothing works with Tyler. Truly, I wish that wasn't the case. ExecuTime was the one that worked with Tyler, but it doesn't work the way we had thought it did, and maybe in a couple years it will. They have all intentions to improve the product, and same with Kronos. Kronos doesn't speak to Tyler, and Tyler doesn't speak to Kronos.
So I understand that issue. I guess what I'm more concerned about is there any issues or any departments refusing to try to go towards this?
I don't think so. I mean, we haven't quite bridged that gap yet. I think, like David said, in January is when we're gonna start having conversations with departments about this, and there aren't that many that are on paper and spreadsheets. I mean, 2 maybe.
What are those departments? I guess, let's just,
It would be 911 and the sheriff's office.
okay.
The sheriff's
Have
office
really-
unique anyway,
I'm
right?
sorry?
Sheriff's office unique anyway,
Well, they
right?
have very unique pay codes. The pay codes and how they clock in, right? Because when they get in their vehicle, that's when their
Right,
time
right.
starts. And so we will have to work through all of that and what's gonna be easy and efficient for them as well as easy and efficient for payroll and IT because they have things to do in the middle.
So how can 911 clock in like everybody else in this building? I'm really not
Why
understanding
can't
it.
they?
Yes.
Um,
Why can't they do exactly the way we do?
it's my understanding they didn't want to go to Kronos. They chose not to back when Kronos was brought on.
I mean,
Well, Veronica had some sort of explanation for that question, and I didn't quite understand the reasoning, but
They have very complicated pay codes as well.
that doesn't mean anything. I'm not
Well,
trying
no,
to
I think
be
Kronos
disrespectful,
can-
But it's like you got a badge.
Yeah.
You walk by the Kronos thing and you scan it and it clocks you in. Whatever pay code needs to be there.
Yeah.
That's sure to be built in. It's not
Right.
anything too special.
I think sometimes when they're in there, they're working as a supervisor, and then sometimes they're working as a dispatcher.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, just be honest, if you have someone working out of class, you as a leader should be able to say, well, this person's working out of
Yeah.
class, we're gonna pay them more. That same
I
structure
might be
exists in the
wrong,
911
but
center. Why?
that was my takeaway from Veronica's explanation.
But I do think we've used Kronos for years and years, and Kronos has advanced, and we just need to have conversations with them about how can they help us make those things work. I mean, there are lots of
It's not-
large
it's not
organizations that use
This
Kronos.
isn't a
The
technology
bottom line is
problem.
it needs to happen, period.
Yes.
It's not a choice. I mean, we're paying this thing, it needs to happen. There's a lot of risk there. Someone could mistakenly say they were there for one day and we pay them, and then all of a sudden later on, we have to come try to figure out how to backtrack and figure that out with spreadsheets. That's not good. And who's maintaining that spreadsheet? What if they make an error? You know, that's not
Hey.
smart.
Talk about Tyler. Is that the angle we need to look at?
Well, I mean, Tyler is specific and works for the auditor's office, the recorder's office, the treasurer's office. If we were to do something outside of Tyler, I mean, there are HRIS systems outside of Tyler that would house everything. You'd put your new hire in, it would calculate all your pay codes, but Tyler's the one that pays us. And so and Tyler has our budget line numbers and everything, so it would be, I just can't imagine leaving Tyler. Melvin, I don't know if you want to jump in on that, but
Well, there's not much of an alternative other than writing our own software.
well, there are softwares out there, but it would be completely independent of Tyler. And then you'd either have to pay them out of this other system and then somehow export still something into Tyler to show where because when Mitch, goes into Tyler to look at, here's what we've paid so far in wages, that's all in Tyler. So something would still have to get exported into Tyler.
What's
Yeah,
Johnson
Fremont.
County doing? Scott County, Lynn County, Polk? We're not the only county. Like, there's obviously hundreds of counties nationwide that are dealing with something
Yeah.
similar. What are they doing? Like, why aren't we doing what works?
Half the counties in Iowa use Tyler. 50 out of, I'm guessing here, but it's 50 out of 100 roughly. We use Tyler for 3 modules. We use it for finance, we use it for payroll, and we use it for tax. And those 3 things are all integrated, as you know. And so pulling something out would then affect the other two. So we gotta, if we were to make a change, that would be a holistic change and a countywide decision
We're not using Tyler now, is what you're saying?
We are.
for those three things I just mentioned.
So why wouldn't we do the same thing?
Well, they,
I'm just having a really hard time understanding why it's so
Yeah.
complicated for Pot County to clock in and clock out. I can understand the
It's
sheriff's,
not
it makes,
complicated.
the
It's not
sheriff's office is
complicated.
easy, it makes sense because
We
they're getting
use
in
it
a
for the
car.
Jail today, jail is very complicated.
mhm.
It's not complicated, it's a choice.
Cool, well, who gets to make that choice?
Department heads.
Well, years ago, when they went to Tyler, there was a discussion on should we use one system or not, and some departments wanted ESS, others wanted paper, others wanted Chronos. So I think at the time, it was just kind of left up to the department head, which sort of, payroll system they wanted to use. So there's really three of them coming into three different processes coming into payroll.
I'm
It would
arguing with
be
the
nice
wrong
if-
people, so I apologize for that. I know this is not, you're the messengers here. It's just,
But
my
you're,
recommendation to county is that we get that thing locked in step because you have risk that's there that could really cost you money down the line.
But I think Raquela's ready to do something and Veronica's, getting pretty close from conversations I've had with
Okay.
payroll. So they're gonna chat.
you're right. I mean, 2022, and we're doing payroll by pencil and paper and manually putting it in a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. It's amazing to me. All right. Back to the quote on the time clocks. You said it was 25, 352.
Yep.
That's to update our time clocks to keep paying people for the time they work.
Yes.
What's
7
the,
times.
what's the pleasure of the board?
I would make a motion to approve the 25/352/18 for the new time clocks.
Second.
I would like to see us get the other, whatever departments we have to on there.
Just the
Let's
sheriff,
streamline this.
sheriff and 911.
Well, I think
I thought sheriff is.
my office does want all so streamlined. They're gonna be working with the other departments and
Okay.
try to figure out the best way that, at their level, how they
Yeah. it's
How they
just-
handle
shouldn't
what
have
we've
to.
got.
I mean, it should be.
whether it's ESS or Chronos.
Your payroll people should not have to sift through Excel spreadsheets and do that. That's
No.
it's ridiculous. It's not. And I'm sure they do a great job at it, and I just feel like that's something they shouldn't be having to do.
All right.
But we got good products and they'll work it out the best they can.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, David, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Next up, we have John Rasmussen. Discussion decision to approve project plans for FMC 078, parent 207-55-78. It's a reconstruction of L66 from Tamarack Road North, 4/10 of a mile. John, you're up.
Yeah, I have a cover page for plans for the board to sign. We're doing about 4/10 of a mile through Minden there. A couple years back, we were gonna patch it, and when we went out to investigate it, it was beyond patching and need full depth repair. So, Minden did some patching on it, but we're gonna replace the whole thing this summer.
Is that all the way to the interchange?
No, if you go out there, in the 90s, we didn't work through town, so we would stop, the county would stop at the edge of town,
Right.
and then there'd be a header there, then there'd be an old road through town. Well, this is kind of a segment of old road that
Okay.
didn't get done in the 90s when everything else did, so.
I'll make a
Catch
motion to
that one up.
approve.
So on the Market Road too, right, John?
Yes. No local funds on this one, all farm to market, so it kind of outgrew our local funds.
Okay.
The estimate on it's 507,000.
507?
I'll second it.
Yeah, I made the motion. Yeah, Groby seconded.
So this is from, when you're in Minden, is this from where that road that comes off the interstate and then back to, what would that be, to the east?
Right, so we're gonna start at the church in Minden there, off Tamarack, and work kind of up over that hill.
Okay.
it's right on the.
Is it north?
It runs off of Tamarack North.
Kind of cantywampus there?
No, straight,
Pretty straight.
Okay.
straight north on to the interchange, the interstate interchange.
Oh, you're going out toward the interstate?
Yeah,
Okay, so
now
that's
it
not,
doesn't go all the way up there.
but that, Minden doesn't run out to the interstate, does it, the
No,
city?
not that far. This is just a
The part in the city,
4/10 mile of the
okay,
church there.
Okay, I'm with
Really
you.
bad shape.
okay, yeah, it isn't bad, well, it's probably not as bad as the DOT ramps up there on that exit, but it's in bad shape.
Okay, is there any other discussion for John on that? We had a motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll get that signed for you, John. Do we need a special pen to sign this?
Nope, just those little boxes right there, and I'll pick it up from.
No, hang on, you can take it right with you.
Oh, okay.
Good Christmas.
That's all right. All my kids are out of town, so they
Oh.
don't feel like Christmas. Got one stuck in Pennsylvania, flew Southwest.
Oh,
He's driving 19 hours in a rental car now.
oh,
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
they're, they announced today Southwest isn't rebooking any flights
Do I
till
need to
the
sign?
31st,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
that box
That
is
box,
Yeah, they told them the weather, but the employees are saying we just don't have any help for just not enough employees.
The 31st, Jesus,
That's wild.
where people stay and
Well, then
Jenna, you wanna come
the
up?
Next weather event, you know, then they're.
sleep in an airport.
Right there, man.
Come up here.
got a better pen?
The last set of plans, Len gets to sign.
Put a star by your name. You can put a star by yours too, John.
What, last set for Justin? Thank you.
Yeah, I need that.
Nope, oh, sorry.
All right, thanks, Sean. Moving on. Next up, we have Jana Lemrick, our HR Director, and Matt Wyatt, Planning Director. Discussion on employee recognition for completing the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy. Who's gonna take it, Matt, or you or Jana?
I am.
Okay, you're up.
Thanks for having us here today. The NACO High Performance Leadership Academy is an innovative 12-week program created to equip county government professionals with practical leadership skills to deliver results for counties and communities. It's a robust curriculum that was developed by the Professional Development Academy in partnership with Fortune 1000 executives, public sector leaders, world-renowned academics, and thought leaders, including Secretary Colin Powell and Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. The High Performance Leadership Academy was specifically designed for the unique challenges and opportunities of serving in county government. Over the course of the program, the classes focus on 5 practical skills: to lead, engage teams and stakeholders to foster positive climates and exceed common expectations, organize, plan, lead, and execute organizational change more effectively and consistently, collaborate, establish alignment and strong partnerships through building stronger relationships, communicate, which is to create clarity, confidence, and community, and to deliver. Measure projects and processes to deliver results aligned with the county and community priorities. I have said for a long time, and I feel like it's critical that we have people ready to step up into leadership roles within the county and to be able to provide consistent service to our residents, business owners, and communities. Through NACO, this is a great opportunity for employees and the county to strengthen our front line for the future to come. This course challenges the participants to better themselves and their roles. They have an opportunity to learn from others across the country serving in similar roles and hear how common situations have been handled. It allows them to build a network of peers to lean on as they progress through their careers. One point to credit the employees with is this is not a course that you can sign up for and lean back and not do the work. The work has to be done, and it often happens on their own time, while at the same time keeping up with the roles of their job. This shows the dedication that these employees are giving to Pottawatomie County every day. Secretary Powell was famous for his sticky notes and his rules that he would work off of. And 13 rules in particular, I won't read them all to you, but I know that you guys have all heard me quote them before in certain situations. But a couple of them that I think resonated with me, and I hope resonated with the other employees as they went through this program, was, number one for him was, it ain't as bad as you think. It's gonna look better in the morning. There's a lot of times in government where you get hit with an issue, and sometimes you just gotta sleep on it and come back in the morning. To get mad and then get over it. It's nothing that anybody needs to carry around with them. Number four is that it can be done. A lot of times those situations come up. There's always a way around it. It just might take partnerships that you didn't quite recognize at the time. Always check your small things and always share the credit. None of us are able to do the work that we do without the support of others, either by myself with my employees. I have a great employee team that allows us to just carry on, and hopefully they feel the same with their peers around them. Remain calm and be kind. And then my favorite one is perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. And it really is, as you work through the different situations that come up to you in the future. And Potawatomi County, we were lucky enough to have 5 individuals who recently completed this course. We got a really good price discount because we had received an award from them, and that really helped us get as many people through as we can. And I do believe that it's definitely beneficial to our employees. I credit them all for the work that they had to have done to complete this course. And so for the Board of Supervisors and myself, I would like to say congratulations to Justin Schultz, County Supervisor, Jana Limerick, our HR Director, Becky Linehan, Deputy Auditor, Candy Heyer, our epidemiologist, and Angela Walker, public health nurse, for all successfully completing the last cohort of the NACO's Leadership Academy.
All right, well, congratulations and thanks for your work. Did they get a recognition?
They get some really, when you complete the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy, hopefully they've all received it by now, but you do get a nice certificate showing your completion to it. You also get a book from Colin Powell on his leadership rules, and for the military people in the room, you get General Colin Powell's coin, which very rarely would you get ever in your collection of 4-star coins. So to have that coin is a pretty big deal.
So what's the next phase? Do they offer it again? Are we recommending employees to go on the next one?
We are. So, with this, they reach out to those of us that have taken it to say, hey, spread the word. I don't know for Matt's department, and Matt's a graduate of this too, which is why I asked him to make this small presentation. I know in my department, I'm having someone continue with the course. The next cohort starts in January. And they do this probably a couple times a year.
It's quarterly, isn't it?
I believe so.
Probably quarterly, yeah. I mean, it's time intensive, but we felt, Matt and I have talked about this program, that it really is very beneficial. You learn a lot, you spend a lot of time doing it, but also to build our leaders and those within, our current ranks to already have this knowledge, if they need to use it now or need to use it in the future, but should be recognized once they complete it, because it's great knowledge to have.
It's done 4 times a year now, huh?
I think so.
It
It's
used
a
to.
12-week course, so you can cram
It's online,
Well,
all online.
it wasn't made that way originally, because
I thought it was.
But, yeah, you might be right.
I went to DC for a week to,
Well, that was that was County Leadership Institute. That was just held once a year in June or July. That you went to.
that's different?
That's a different course.
Okay.
We got invited to this program to be part of the first cohort because of Melvin's connection with NACO. And I have now, since I was a part of the very first NACO course that went through the High Performance Leadership Academy, that professional development group has started a leading and analytics program. And since it was gonna be the first round, they reached out to everybody who was the first cohort of the Leadership Academy and had us all go through the leading and analytics program. So as they develop those out, it is very interesting because you get to hear from some of the top executives in the world, their staff, how they've handled different situations, how they've developed different products to equate the data into useful tools for people. And it's a very good program all the way around. But I watched Candy go through this latest round of it and heard a lot of her meetings, and you could see the growth in the program just from the time that I took it to what it has become now. It is much more structured now. There's a lot more work that goes into it. And I think, the employees are probably taking a lot more away from it than even when they don't ever stop kind of critiquing what they have offered for people.
So what was that, $650 or something a student, or?
No, it's about $1,900, I think, 16 or
We did
1,900.
5 for 5, is what we did.
Right, we got 5 for 5, so it was just $1,000
About half off.
for each one of us. But it's upwards of the high twos. But they do offer scholarships, and there's often discounts that are going on. Like, I mean, for this next cohort in January, I think there's $1,000 off.
I mean, the nice thing about it too is I have a couple things I want to say, but the first one is that you always have access to material. So everything that we did, you can go back, we can always log on there and review the little videos. I mean, they break it down into kind of 4 sections throughout the course, and then, so it's really handy to be able to go back and be like, okay, let's talk about conflict resolution, or let's talk about business analytics, or, just some of the different modules we had. We can always access that, which is huge. One of the biggest takeaways that, and I want to credit Jenna and Candy both. We were in the same group. So once a week we'd meet with our groups we did Thursday at 2:30, and we got to talk to other counties, throughout the mostly regional, I guess, for us, but kind of learn about what the issues that they had and what they're dealing with, and share our stories and experiences with them. But it was really nice, for me as a supervisor to go through it, because I got a totally different perspective on what's going on in Potawatomi County. And I do want to just give credit to Candy, because I feel like she got thrown into this, and, of everyone in our group, I would say she's probably at the beginning of her career compared to the rest of us, and she knocked it out of the park. I mean, hands down. And so, good job to that. And Janet, she was always someone that we'd have people that would cancel and say, well, sorry, I can't lead the meeting. And Janet always stepped up, and so that was huge to have that. And, Becky, I'm sorry you weren't in our group, so I don't know what it was like for you, but, it really is something that I think this county really ought to keep sending people to. It can do nothing but good for us, and I think the return on investment is going to be seen very quickly with the group of people I went through. So, but anyway, that's all I can say about it.
Congratulations.
Matt, get that list of people that completed that course to the board, would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think there were some that didn't take it. Didn't they take it last year, or other than these 5 that did it?
Correct.
Group.
Maria's gone through it, and Alex McGee from and Rebecca. Yeah, so we've had a few people.
There's 2 things that really stuck out. Sorry, I don't want to keep dwelling on this, but 2 things that stuck out to me. There's this conversation throughout the whole class about, as leaders, you bring the weather. And when you really start thinking about the weather you bring to a situation and just your attitude, the way you react to certain things that are said, you really do bring the weather. And so they talk about having a positive approach even when things are a struggle, and how that, trickles down into the employee level and what that does for people. And that was huge. The other one, and it was more of an aha kind of thing, but, on average, leaders spend 2 hours a day dealing with drama. I think as elected officials, we deal with probably a lot more than that, but it dawned on me how much that really happens, and the importance of recognizing that, so you can break it down into pieces that you can actually solve and move forward. So again, I urge anyone that's interested to really consider it and look into it, and I hope this board continues to send people there, because it's very valuable.
Good, thank you. Congratulations.
Okay.
Good job, Becky.
So is there a manual they follow, or is it all online, everything's online?
Everything's online. They give you some links to other things to kind of review, like
Okay.
different articles and things like that. And then you create a journal as you go through, so I can go back and look at like where I started. You also have to develop your, it's kind of like your leadership credo, just
Right.
what defines your leadership motto. And so by the end of it, you've kind of have a broader, bigger picture of that. So, and it's interesting. And, you get to read each other's, so you have to do the course. You can't pass it without actually putting in the work. And it's pretty time consuming. I mean, you put in quite a few hours a week to get it done, so.
Yeah, I got to see the progress of our HR director and her scores throughout the duration of the project, so I'm familiar with that. All right, thanks again, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, congratulations.
Matt, if you would get that to Jeanette for me, please.
I'll do that right now.
Thanks, Andy. Okay, next up, we have public comment. Anyone sign the public comment sheet? All right. All right, the board will now allow up to 30 minutes for comments from the public. The board will call speakers to the podium in the order in which they have signed up on the form provided. Each speaker is limited to no more than 2 minutes for speaking, must speak from the podium, must first state his or her name and address for the record. Comments should be directed to the board as a whole and should refrain from personal attacks or from addressing individual employees or citizens. Comments should also be limited to one topic.